Big up, people. Here we are once again. The esteemed panel that is the real ones, the legends, the ones who know Arsenal Football Club. Shano, DJB, great show earlier. I love that show. I swear down. Tonight, Shano got my vote. Sorry, DJ. It was a close call. It was a close call, my friend. Unfortunately, I had to go with Shane this week. Last week, the week before, it was you. Big up, Darren, my friend. About time you came back on the channel, buddy, and have a good chat. Shane, how's it going, man?
Yeah, all good, man. All good. Looking forward to this. Still reveling in my win, my dominant win against DJB. It was quite enjoyable to bring it back to 8-8. But now looking forward to having a good old chat and talking about Smudger, of course, as we were discussing backstage. So I'm looking forward to
it. Man. DJ, mate, that was a bit of a 9-1 kicking tonight, I'm afraid. Actually taken a part in your midfield today.
I got the tactics all wrong. I tried to put an extra man up front and got caught on the counter with that one, I'm afraid. But never mind. It is what it is. No, I do enjoy doing it, and I enjoy this show as well. But yeah, all good to be back on with my man Kenny and Shane and yourself and the chat as usual. Always brilliant. And I've just noticed that Galatasaray have taken the lead.
They have
against Liverpool 1-0. So.
Yeah, 1-0.
Pressure's on. But big up to everyone. Big up to everyone.
Big up, mate. Kenny Ken, how you doing, my friend? Kenny's unfortunately had a bit of a disaster today. You're muted, mate. You're muted. Kenny, you're muted.
You can't see because of the.
The draw's been good to us in terms of the gods, in terms of like we're not playing. We haven't played any Premiership opposition. We're playing a very, very, very like I said, improved teams like Southampton. But I expect us to go through. And then you've got a massive game against Leverkusen. And then we've got, as I say, where are we now? We've got Everton, Leverkusen in the cup final. That's going to be a massive week next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get into it, what we're going to talk about, Kawaji, you're now a mod. I have to apologise to you, mate, because when I was on that stream last night, I accidentally blocked you. I had a muting in there from my channel because I shared it with their channel. You know how the chat jumps, and I blocked you, mate. So I do apologise for that. But now you're a mod, so I have to give you my apologies because I kicked you out within about 10 minutes of that show. But anyway, let's get on. Right, Southampton away, Shano. Southampton. That's the one on League Gunners last night. I said I want Southampton, and we got Southampton. Now I think that's a great draw for us. I'm going to attempt on Thursday to get a ticket if I can. I'm not sure I will because it will be sold out by the Arsenal fans, and I'm pretty certain it'll be a full home capacity for Southampton. But I'll give it a go. I'll try my best. But what do you think about it, mate? You confident about that one? Southampton away?
Yeah, I'm confident about it. Look, these draws that people say we're getting lucky with, but that's why it's called the luck of the draw. They're sort of a hiding to nothing, because if you go out to a team like that, there's uproar, and if you beat them, you're meant to beat them. So it's all well and good if we get to the semis and we then get a Leeds or a West Ham or something like that. It's I hate saying it about an FA Cup game about resting, but the further you get in it, if you keep getting an easy draw, you rest a little bit less each time, you know. So for me, I think we could go to Southampton and make 4 or 5 changes and still put out a really strong team. You know, I'm talking about the essential changes, just to take a Declan Rice out or take one of the centre backs out and maybe a Timber and maybe a Saka and bring in a couple of players that don't really overly weaken you. But you can't complain about the way we've gone about our business. What's being put in front of us, we've beaten. The performance in the previous round against Mansfield. I wasn't as upset as some people. I thought it wasn't great, but we just got through. We did what we had to do. It wasn't nice to look at, but nothing has been this season. You know, someone was saying in my chat this morning about, has there ever been a league where someone's gone perfect the whole way through? I said, no, there's been close. So the Barcelona team of 08, 09 were very close to being perfect, and Bayern, and there's been seasons like that. We've had a couple as well. But I said, what you could do with those teams and those years and those dominations is you'd pick out 2 or 3 games where they weren't perfect and the rest were very, very close. Where this season, I think we're picking out games that are close to perfect and the rest are all sort of getting over the line. If we continue to get over the line, great. I've been saying it's not sustainable since the start of the season, but I didn't think we'd get this far the way we are. But look, the cup draw is great, but we have to put that to the back of our mind now because we have some important games coming up, as Kenny was saying, Champions League, League Cup, coming in one go. And that's the reward you get for staying and everything. We just need to keep our feet on the ground because more teams have gone for a quad or a treble and crumbled in all of them than have done it. No one's done the quad. But many teams have tried and started to trip up all over the place. Liverpool, most recently. Celtic did it in Scotland recently, and they won nothing. Liverpool won both cups, but they lost the league and they lost the Champions League. So we're looking at the Everton game and we're thinking, you know, Everton at home. But that's every game's a banana skin now. Every game is a potential banana skin. And Everton are no slouches, and they're in good form. And if we draw or lose and City win, they're back in their hands again. That's how close it is to shifting. You could then lose in the Champions League, and I'm going, of course, for all the worst possible outcomes. But that's the way you have to look at it. We have to keep going, and it will take one loss feeds another. So am I happy with the draw? Yeah, it takes a bit of pressure off. It's the added pressure of going, okay, well, we have City away in the FA Cup, so what do we? It's nice to have that buffer to go, well, we should get through, so we don't have to worry about that for a while. Put it on the back burner. Concentrate on Champions League tomorrow night, then concentrate on Saturday. But as for the draw itself, yeah, you can't complain. I mean, if you were to pick anything, I suppose it would have been Port Vale, but Southampton, they've given us a few shock results in recent history, so it'd be nice to go there and stick it to them, maybe give Dowman a few minutes and stuff like that. But yeah, can't complain at all about the draw, Jess. It's you know, it's been favourable, but you make your own look in this world.
Of course you do. DJ, I'm you know, that's the team I wanted. I'm glad we actually give me your opinion on this as well. I'm glad we missed out West Ham because they're starting to have a little bit of getting things together. They've got a season where they're fighting for everything now to survive, and the cup would be a massive run for them. So I'm glad we missed them, mate.
Yeah. Listen, the draw's been kind again. You know, ideally, I would have rather have them at home than away because I always think that any home draw in the FA Cup in the quarterfinal stage is good. But beggars can't be choosers. So at the end of the day, you'll take them away. We got to tread carefully with it though, because Southampton, at the end of the day, they're a Championship side. They're not an easy team. Their home record is fairly decent as well. And the manager's got them playing to a level what's got them up the table as well, and just sort of, you know, just outside the playoffs. So, you know, they're going to be a tricky team. It depends on what team they put out and how serious they take it. My biggest worry is if we do take it lightly, like we did against Mansfield, if we play like we did against Mansfield, and we put out a similar squad like we did against Mansfield, we could get our pants pulled down a little bit. That could not, so it's a game where I don't think we can rotate, but we've got to be careful, because what I saw against Mansfield was our squad depth that I've been worried about all season. And I've always said this. Yeah. Yes, we've got squad depth, but have we got the squad quality? And because of injuries, because of the Havertz been out for so long, because of Jesus has been out for so long, I still think we lack quality when it comes to using our squad depth and our second 11, if you like. I mean, you spent £1 billion on players, and yet Max Dowman looks our best player when he's in that lineup. So that tells you everything you need to know. what I think of the squad depth. But yes, Southampton rather than West Ham. Listen, West Ham are on a high at the moment, and what West Ham have got at the moment, they've got a belief about them. They've got a kind of unit about them. They've got a kind of nice. He's galvanised the team and got them believing. But we've got to go there in the league, Jez. So, and I've said it, that going there when they could potentially 3 points at home against Arsenal could actually keep them in the Premier League. You know, that's a massive, massive game for them. So that's the one I'm worried about looking forward. Everton on Saturday. Again, David Moyes, Everton's away form is very, very good. We're going to need to be on our guard. They're also good at set pieces as well. And it's David Moyes, isn't it? He gets them organised. They're hard to break down. So that's going to be a tricky game. And I'm with Shane. It can all turn on its head on Saturday at the weekend again. And it can all swing back the other way. So, yeah, real business end of the season now. You've got to get Leverkusen out of the way tomorrow. Got to do a job on them tomorrow. You don't want to go 1-2 goals behind in the first leg. Come out with a draw. Come out, even better still, come out with a win. If you're going to have an off day in Europe, don't lose. That's what I say. If you're going to have an off day in the Champions League tomorrow, make sure you come away with at least a point or a 1-goal deficit. Don't start coming away with 2 goals to chase and all of that, because that will just make it an uphill struggle. What you don't want to put pressure on yourself going into the back end of this season now. So you don't want to make that Champions League second leg harder than it should be. And then obviously by the time we get to Southampton away, you want to be pretty still okay in the league and all of that, Jez, because if you're not, suddenly that FA Cup then becomes a bit of a pressure game as well. So, yeah, Southampton away, it's a good tie, but I don't think we can take it as easy as what we think we can. It still needs a lot of respect. It still needs an half-decent team to go out and get the job done. And if we play like we did against Mansfield, Southampton could easily win that game. So, you know, it can't be taken lightly. But yeah, you got to be happy with that. Chelsea have got the plum draw, haven't they, at home to Port Vale? No disrespects to Port Vale. It would have been ideal to have that. One thing the FA Cup draw did give us was Man City versus Liverpool. Now, if you look at Man City's running now with that cup tie, it makes it very, very difficult for them, because I think they've got the Real Madrid in between as well. And then they've got Chelsea in the league, I think, as well. And then Liverpool in the FA Cup. So that really, really does put the pressure on them. But yeah, no, Southampton away, happy with that. As I said, I would prefer them at home. But it is what it is. You know, onwards and upwards.
That's fair point. It's a fair point, mate. I mean, you know, as Darren says, we're going to get onto this in a minute. 1-1 draw would do at least versus Leverkusen. Big up, James, mate. Good to see you. Even Jez and the crew. There we go. Darren's talking about the game in '89 when Rosner's father kicked us out the cup. So, yeah, big up. I've got a question here, though. I've got to go to Kenny on this one. Right. Kenny, you've got to be happy with that Southampton draw, right? But as Hendon Gooner says, good evening to me, Shane, Kenny, and DJB, and all watching. The pressure is on. Business end of the season. With our soft lads, have the cajonas to get across the line. Now, the reason I've said that question to you, mate, your catchphrase, put your nuts on the table.
Put your nuts on the table.
Do you think they've got it?
Look, they 100% got it, but it's their bodies. Their bodies. You know, I was on Dan's show yesterday, and also I want to talk with Darren. Darren, when I was on Johnny's show yesterday, I managed to get, Bobby Moore in my all-time 11. I got him in my all-time 11, you know, alongside Baresi. So, yeah, that was one Englishman who got in my all-time 11 with Johnny's show. But in terms of Arsenal definitely got the nuts. Without saying that, Arsenal's problem is fatigue. I don't care what anyone says. That's not to say that I'm right and that everyone's wrong. It's just footballing logic. You know, because Mikel's been really lucky with the draws he's had. He can rotate in the FA Cup because he had Portsmouth, Wigan, and Managerial, and he's got Southampton. So it's been a godsend for him, because if you look at it last season, he played strong. He had to play strong sides against Man United, and he had to play very, very strong side against Liverpool the year previously in 2012. So this time, the draw has been kind to him, because you and I know, had he been playing Liverpool, Man City in any of those games, he would have gone strong. You know it. Even if we played Spurs, he would have gone strong. But because he's had the luxury of playing teams a division or two positions below us, it's been manna and heaven for him. But I still think that in certain games, we're running out empty. And that's the thing. We'll find a way to win games. We'll be hard to beat. So we've definitely got the balls to win it. But I think we want the Premiership more than anything else. I think, like you tell our lads right now, you win the Premiership and you come just a little bit short in all the competitions, they'll bite your hand off. Even that, as close as we are to a possible semi-final, and as close as we are to a nice pathway to the late rounds of the Champions League, they've worked their nuts off for this league title. You know, it's been something that they've missed out on in the last 3 years, especially in 24 and 23. So they want this badly. They need it. We need it. So they definitely have the balls, but I don't think they got their legs and body could let them down. But one thing in their favour is Man City not putting under us any pressure whatsoever, because they keep on dropping points and then transition. I know it's an arrogant thing to say, but in essence, we are only probably 7 points ahead of them, because we've been so, how do I say it, wasteful ourselves. If we were clinical and ruthless, it would have been over by now.
Well, that actually leads me quite nicely on to something else. I'm going to switch it a little bit before we get into the Leverkusen situation. Well, I was on that show last night, and it was a good show, actually. I thoroughly enjoyed it, with Positive, Negative Dan, Marty, and the other guy. I have to excuse me, I can't think who it was, but it was a great show. It was a great chat, great debate.
Was it Hugo?
I can't make.
No, it's normally Hugo. Hugo's normally on it.
It was a great debate. There was no stupidity. There's a couple of idiots that came. Some mutant came over from my channel, and I blocked him. That's how I ended up blocking Kawaji. My error. But yeah, I'm going to ask you this question, then, Shano. Right? I got this asked last night. Yeah. And it was a debate that all of us, I think, ended up with the same answer. Would you say this is the best squad ever?
Not even close. Not even close to being the best squad ever. That's ridiculous. Like, look, people say that it's better than the 22-23 squad, but that team was 5 points clear of this team at the same stage. One game less played, actually, right? A lot of the same players, but that Saka was better than this Saka because he wasn't broken up. That Odegaard was better than this Odegaard. That Martinelli was better than this Martinelli. That Jesus was better than this Jesus because he wasn't broken up and sporked up. Saliba was just as good, but he wasn't injury prone. Gabriel still had a couple of bozo moments, but pretty much just as good. Ben White was one of the best right backs around. Timber's better. I'll give him that. No, I'm sorry. And even if I don't go by what everybody tells me the way it should be done on a metric, because we've been told for 5 or 6 years by these fans that trophies aren't a measure of a great team, and they're not a measure of this and not a measure of that and not a measure of why a manager should stay in charge. But now that they think we're going to win trophies, it's all about trophies. So it'll be all about, if we win trophies, then this summer it's all you'll hear is trophies, 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 trophies. That's why he stays in the job. Trophies, trophies. When we were saying we want trophies, that's why we want him gone, because we want trophies. Oh, well, they're not that important. It's about the feelings and the emotions. You put this squad up next to the 89 squad or the 1991 squad or the 97, 98 squad or the 01, 02 squad. They roll over this team. They roll over this team. But that's not a slight on Arteta or Arsenal. I said it this morning. You take previous previous Liverpool teams that have done well. They roll over this Liverpool team. You take previous City teams, they roll over this City team. You take previous Chelsea teams, they roll over this. You take previous Milan teams, they roll. It's just the standard of football now is very, very low across the board. Not just Arsenal, across the board. The style of football, the level of player. It's all about athleticism now and how quick you can get up and down the pitch, and the managers are controlling everything from the sideline. That's not me being nostalgic. Football is in the bin to where it was, and it's not just football. Most sports have gone that way because it's so structured now. Basketball, you ask any American about the Bulls team of the 90s, what they do to the current best team in the NBA, they absolutely swamped them, smashed them off the court. And it's across most sports. Other sports have got better. Individual sports like tennis and snooker and things have got better because it's individual sports, but team sports as a whole, for me, seem to have gone down. So I'm not going to ever put this squad. I do it by eye test, Jez. It's eye test for me. And I look at our lineup and the subs bench, and then I think of teams in the past where Will Tord was on the bench and Kanu was on the bench, and I go, sorry, mate. There's no way you're comparing this squad because Will Tord would be our best attacking player right now, right? He'd walk into this team or most teams. Will Tord was an absolute baller, man. Scoring equalisers in Euro finals and stuff like that. Proper player. I look at the players that weren't getting in that Invincibles team and I go, well, they'd walk into this team. So it's not me trying to take a shot at Mikel. He has one of the best squads in the world in the current climate, without a doubt he does. But that doesn't mean that it's one of the best squads ever, because I look at it by caliber of player. And this squad, I've said it before, I think the 07-08 Arsenal squad's better than this one. The one that nearly got over the line. I think that's better than this one. Diaby, Fabregas, Hleb, Van Persie, Adebayor, Clichy, Sanya. I'm sorry, that's a better squad. They're better players. But it's just a standard of football. So what I'll say is it the greatest squad? No. If they do a quadruple, is it the greatest squad? No, I'm sorry. It's not. They've just done a quadruple in a time. Massive plaudits. Amazing. I never saw this coming. Brilliant. I thought we'd finish outside the top four. This is one of the best things I've ever seen as an Arsenal fan. But if you're asking me as a standalone question, is this squad the best squad we've had? Not even close. Sorry, not even close. It's not even the best squad we've had in the last 15, 20 years. But that's just my opinion.
No, that's a good point. I'll jump to Kenny on this one. I'm going to come to DJB, right? The point is this, and when I got asked that last night, I used a phrase that Kenny used, so I apologise, Kenny, for that. That I did make the analogy between the Jules Graham team and squad and this team, and I did say what Kenny said. It's not that this team's that good; they're just hard to beat. Mm-hmm. You know, Jules Graham's team, we had probably one of the greatest defences I've ever seen at Arsenal Football Club, and we were very, very difficult to beat down. And it was the old, wasn't it? The old 1-0 to the Arsenal, boring Arsenal, all that dramas. But Kenny, you know, I'll ask you this one: Would you compare this squad to Jules Graham's?
No, not at all. As I said before, it's hard to compare. You know, I was doing a World 11. I was doing my all-time World 11, and it was about entertaining players who I pay to watch. But I thought, you know what? The entertaining players that I'll pay to watch are teams that will get in my World 11. So I made it into World 11. And I'll tell you now, the football we play now, you have to have two lungs, if not three. It's so robotic. It's so it's so system organised. It's all about passing the ball quickly. It's not about putting it in the air. It's so everyone has to be in positions. Basically, it's boring. It's boring. You don't have to be a worldie to actually get in this Arsenal side. You just have to be obedient and of the your manager and obedient to the system. The system's a star. You know, it's not any of the players. The only player that probably stands out for that system is probably Saka, and that's it. And when I look at all those players, when I look at the defence, none of them get into George Graham's side. Not one of them, because we had the best defence of all time. In terms of midfield, none of them. People are going to say, well, maybe Declan. No, not one of them. Not one of them. And then when you think about the front three. Not one of them. That's not criticism of Mikel. No one am I criticising Mikel because he's doing it his way and he's doing it. He's playing football that is conducive to this era. I'm just saying how I prefer to watch football.
But even technically, Kenny, those players were better. The ones you mentioned, the George Graham players were better.
Technically, but the thing about it is that you've got to admire the players now because these players are actually technically good and they're doing it at pace. They're doing it within a structure, and they're doing it in terms of a situation where, in essence, you've got to admire them because if they're strikers, they're able to take half chances. Not getting that most strikers these days don't get chances; they get half chances. That's why in training they've got to practice with half chances. So you've got to admire them. You've got to admire their attention to detail of this squad in terms when it comes to off the ball. You know, there's players making sacrifices. You know that we criticise them for poor performance, but they're invaluable to the manager because they are making it hard to beat. Everyone does their jobs, so in that way, it's great for this era. But in terms of like all time, not a chance. But the achievement, if they do win a double or they win the league, the achievement is top class because it's all about winning. But for me, it's all about opinions. You're going to get someone in 20 years' time, and we haven't watched this team play, and they're going to look at Arsenal saying they won the quadruple or the treble, and they're going to say this is the greatest Arsenal side of all time. But they haven't watched us play. They haven't had to suffer the boredom. But they'll just look at the achievement, that's it. It'll be a highlights package.
But Kenny, sorry, I don't mean to cut across this, but have you noticed recently now that they think that these other Arsenal fans that think we're going to win a load of competitions, and fair play to them, maybe we are. It's like that's not enough now. We have to admit that this is the best Arsenal team ever, and we have to admit when it's just not true. But you know, it's never enough for them. It's just never enough for them.
Yeah, but I think with a lot of fans is that what we get at the end of the season, especially if we win stuff, you're going to get a few idiots going to be inviting us on their shows and asking us to say sorry. There's a lot of people we haven't heard of in months, in weeks, but if we win the league or when we win the league, we win trophies, they'll be asking us to come on their shows in order to make a practice of us. You know, they're going to
say sorry for getting the trophies that we demanded.
Yeah, and they're going to want their Kent Walton, you know, Big Daddy, Giant Haystack sort of thing. Rest, you know, after on the ball on a Saturday. You know, Jess, you know what I'm talking about. You know what's going to happen, don't you? We win the league or win things. We're going to get invited to shows, and everyone's going to be. It's going to be a pylon, and we're going to be Giant Haystack, and everyone's going to want. It's going to be Big Daddy, and we're going to get the Big Daddy move where everyone just kind of runs their chest into us rather than them doing proper wrestling moves. You know the score. It's coming.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, it's going to be a joke, really. But DJ, you know, the same sort of thing, really. That I've just said to Kenny and Shano. Give me your breakdown. Is this the best squad that you've?
No, listen, it's not the best squad. I mean, anyone that watches football that likes to be entertained and watches great football will tell you that it's not the best squad. But it's a generational thing, isn't it? You know, youngsters of the noughties will say that we say the 80s and we say the 70s and the 80s was the best era, fashion and all of that. People that were born in the 60s say that the 60s was better, you know, so it's kind of moves with the times. The bottom line is the football nowadays is pretty much not just Arsenal, but it's pretty much boring, isn't it? Let's be really, really truthful. You know, you watch the international games now; they're played the same way. You don't really see absolute ballers on an international level. You know, you have to go and watch other leagues and lower leagues really to get that kind of excitement back in and that zip back in the play. But if you're talking about individual players, I always look at it like this. I always look at the first 11, say the Invincibles, and then I look at this and I'd go, well, who would get in instead of, you know, your Henrys and all of that, and you're thinking no one who'd get in with Perez, no one on the left, and you're trying to do it like for like. And the only one really that probably might stand half a chance, and I'm really cutting it fine, but half a chance would probably be Gabby Magalhaes on his performance this season. Other than that, even in the 89, George Graham's teams, you're still struggling who would get in with this current squad. But
if you look at the mistakes, sorry, DJ, but Gabby's made maybe four massive errors this season. The Newcastle one, the pass against Fulham.
Yeah.
He's probably made more mistakes this season than that combined back four would in the season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you just never saw any errors or any real rickets or bad mistakes. So, they were flawless. They were absolutely flawless. But the type of football they was playing, I mean, some of them Wenger teams, I've never seen football played like it ever. Yeah. And I've seen some brilliant Arsenal teams all over the years. Some of that teams that literally took my breath away. So the way the football they were playing, the one touches, the two touches, the speed, the moving the ball around, switching it from left to right, through the middle, the tackling, the shooting, everything. I've never seen anything like it. With this team, like a lot of teams, like football in general, is predictable. You pretty much know where the ball's going. You know it's going back to the keeper. You know it's going out to the left. You know it's going to the right. Then it's being played. It's robotic. It's slow. It's boring. It's lethargic. But this Arsenal team has found a way at the moment, and until they get across the line and win trophies, we will wait and see. This Arsenal team has found a way to play that style of football. And as Kenny said, in 20 years' time, you'll have people come back and go, oh, do you remember that Arsenal team that won this, and this? Yeah, I do. But do you remember the Arsenal team before it that won this, and this? And if you sit them down and compare how football's played and the style of football, you'd be struggling to pick beyond that era. I mean, you used to see games, switch on Match of the Day on a Saturday, and you used to see some fantastic games. Now you're probably seeing one in 10 that's worth watching.
It's boring now. It is boring.
It is boring. No, I listen. What they do, what individuals do, like your Declan Rice and Gabriel's, Timbers, what they do in this modern game is good for Arsenal. Would they get into the teams previously? No. Would they get ahead of some of the players in teams gone by? No, they wouldn't. And I look at it this way, and I'll finish on this. Would some of those players, say from 02 season, 89 season, get in today's game? Yes, that's the difference. These players wouldn't get in the teams of the 80s and 90s.
That's the point.
Yep.
But
a lot of the players from 89 would get into this team and fit Arteta's way of playing. Martin, a lot of the players from George Graham's, like Alan Smith and all that, would.
Well, he'd be in heaven with that team. Arteta
would fit in perfectly with the way Arteta plays. But
that is true.
But a lot of Arteta's players now, a lot of this team now, would not fit in George Graham's. So that's the difference.
Then you look at the attacking players, but then you have to put any attacking player with Arteta. Can you imagine him trying to deal with an Ian Wright or a Paul Merson or
he couldn't do it. He
wouldn't be able to handle it.
No. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. But that's if you're comparing teams, that's how I look at it. You can put them players into this team, but you couldn't put this team into that team.
Facts.
That's exactly what I was trying to say last night. And in fairness, it was a pretty good chat because I come back to James's point here, and there's a few people on there who admitted, right? Yeah. Don't forget, a lot of the current generation never saw the legends you are talking about, and that's fair play. They admitted that. I mean, respectfully, twice now I've been on a show with Marty, and he's a nice guy, and he actually turned around and said, "Look, Jez, you've lost a lot more football at Arsenal than I have." and you've watched a lot of football more than I've in general. So you've got a wider knowledge. And I said, well, that's not actually really relevant. I said, the fact is, what we're doing is the fact that we're trying to compare two totally different genres of team. And football has changed. And I said it, from my opinion, the worse. Not the game it once was. It was open flowing. Even under Jules Graham, you know, it was. We didn't go out and be prolific scorers, but we were entertaining. You know, it was all right to watch, and all right, Jules Graham, we shut the game down, but it was still entertainment. What I see now, it's not that entertaining, to be honest. It's like the Mansfield game was. It was a classic. Kenny and I said last night, it was a classic FA Cup tie. It was like a 70s one. It was a dodgy old pitch. But people, I see Uncle Fester was moaning about the pitch. Well, it's the same for both bloody teams. It don't change each half. So Arsenal get the worst bit of the pitch each half. It's the same half. It's the same pitch all round. And before we get into the Leverkusen game, I just quickly, very, very, very quickly, right? There is something I want to talk about at the end, which I've wanted to talk about for 2 weeks. We've never done it. And I don't want to drag this one out tonight. It is the fact that some of them players, right, to me, and Shane, I don't know if you're going to will agree or disagree. It's up to you. It's your opinion. There was only one player for me up front that could actually control the bloody ball in that pitch, and that was Max Dowman. I saw Havertz, ball bouncing around, couldn't control it. Madueke couldn't control it. Right, Martinelli just running it out of play. You know, I mean, come on, man. This kid's 16, right? On a Saturday afternoon, midday, Mansfield, Monday morning, 9 o'clock, he's back in school. Right, and he looked like the best player on the pitch to me. But go away, man. Go on.
Yeah, look, the whole thing about the pitch is it falls flat in his face when you mention Dowman, because he's of the youngest player on the pitch, which means that he's only ever played on perfect pitches. The players that have come from other countries, the players that have been around the world, they've played on other pitches. So he's the only one that hasn't, because the pitches that these kids play on are immaculate. They are immaculate. They're rarely played on, and they're looked after. So he has the least excuse for it. Now, Arteta was using the pitch to blame injuries. I'm sorry, they're fatigue injuries, and you still have rushed them back, because I've seen that both of the players are in training again. So, I mean, they ain't getting a break. But blaming the pitch is ridiculous. I remember Chelsea tried it. Mourinho tried it against Barcelona, where he let the grass grow, like when they were playing Barcelona. And Ronaldinho came out after and said, you know, I used to play in like dump sites and all. You ain't going to get me with a bit of patchy grass. You know, so look, Dowman is a different level. You can see it. I'm not one for getting carried away with young players. So much can happen. Personal lives, injuries, getting sporked up by this manager. I do fear that he will go the route of all the others if this manager stays. It's one of the main reasons that I want him out, regardless of what happens. I just think that he's a danger to young players, especially attacking players. I could see us sitting here in 2 years having the same Ethan Nwaneri conversation. You know what I mean? Is he going out on loan? Would he ever get a game? Dowman, for me, is the type of class of... I don't want to put him up there, and I don't like making these sort of comparisons, but it's just because of his style of Paul Gascoigne, just getting the ball running from central midfield, taking players on, snapping a shot off. What I liked about one of he made a run with the ball. He beat a couple of players, and when he snapped the shot off, he didn't just swing it at wildly. He just tried to poke it into the bottom corner, and the keeper made a good save. He's a pure talent, but he was the only one, as you said. Our best attacking player was 16. But like I said, if you go back to 22-23, Saka was on the pitch. He came on for a stage. Martinelli was on that pitch. Jesus was on that pitch. They were all there in 22-23, and the ball stuck to them when it went up front back then. It was until they got absolutely taken apart by this manager, where you're not allowed to express yourself, play the easy ball, percentages. You need 10 successful actions in a row, which just means play the ball sideways or you get dropped. So a lot of the players on that pitch who looked dog shit up front were ripping the league apart 3 years ago, right? Same players. So it's not a matter of, it's the injuries, of course, because he's broken every one of them up at some point. Everyone I've mentioned has been snapped in half, including Dowman, I might add. But it's the way they're so programmed now to not express themselves that they can't switch out of it. So when we go in against a team like that and we could roll over them, unless we get that sort of 10, 15-minute period where we've done a few teams in this year, your Tottenhams and your Atleticos and your Bayerns and stuff like that, where they just seem to forget themselves and that you can see in the play that they've just opened up now and and then he reins them back in again. If we're talking about the ball sticking to one player and it just being a kid, you just have to, like I said, look at the players that were up front. All of them were there. That was our front line 2 or 3 years ago when we were shredding teams. So a lot of it comes on the manager because of the injuries and because of the style of play. And he's just beaten all of the sort of the freedom out of them. And the same thing, sadly, will happen to Dowman because he'll find out pretty quick. If you keep taking risks like that, mate, you're holding bench. You ain't playing. We've seen it with Ethan. You keep taking risks like that. You keep running at players. That's a real low percentage run. So, look, Dowman's a superstar. And I'd love to see him under a Hansi Flick or something like that. But hopefully he's so good that even this manager can't rein him in. But we shall see.
Yeah, it's a fair point, mate. It's a fair point. I mean, one of the things DJ last night was the only contentious point of chatting, really, was about has this manager run players into the ground? And I said, yes, he has.
Mm-hmm.
Fact that he's played players when they're in the red zone, like, and I was the only one that was like saying, yeah, he has. He's done it with Saka. He did it with Timber. He did it with Tierney. He's done it with Ben White. And their debate and excuse was, well, that's not the manager. That's the medical team.
No.
I said, no, I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. That's wrong. Because when Timber, first game, right, he went down before half time, right, taken off the pitch, came back out. 5 minutes later, he's down. He's done his ACL, out for the rest of the season. So, what's your view, mate? What's your view?
Yeah, listen, you can forgive to an extent where a player, you get the odd hamstring in the team. All teams suffer injuries. You know, you get an odd hamstring in the team and you go, oh, okay. You know, he suffered an hamstring. He's pulled a hamstring. He's gone for the ball and he's pulled a hamstring. Fair enough. And then you get another one pull an hamstring. Then you get another one pull an hamstring. Then they come back and they've gone down again. Then they come back and they've gone up again. Then you start looking at, well, why aren't they being rotated? Why aren't they being rested? Why are they still on the pitch when we're cruising games and they're playing 93, 95 minutes? You know? Now, with Saka, he was playing cup games when he should not have even been on the coach. Should not have even been in the squad. And he's playing cup games and Carabao Cup games and we're cruising and he's still on the pitch. You know, and he's bringing him on and he's still kept him on. He's doing the same with Rice. He's done the same with Timber. I mean, that Timber was the Nottingham Forest game and I was there. And he went down towards the end of the first half and I thought, oh, that's it. Substitution at half time. He ain't coming out. He'd only just signed for the club. And he rocked up in the second half and I'm thinking, what's he doing coming out the second half? It's crazy. Look, the point of the matter is that this manager has shown his inexperience in man management skills and squad rotation. And he's probably admitted that because he has said in numerous press conferences this season, oh, we've got to manage the squad better and we've got to start doing this and we've got to start doing that. So he knows he's had a problem with the rotation and overplaying players. And I come back on this medical thing, and I've been saying this from day one. The buck stops at the football manager. The medical staff could go to him and go, look, boss, he's only 65% fit. I'm not saying he's not fit enough to play, but if you play him, you're risking injury, you're risking further damage. In my professional opinion, I don't think we should be playing him. Now, then it's down to the manager. the manager can either do two things. He can either turn around and go, right, thanks for that. I'll take your word for that. No problem at all. I'm pulling him out. He's not playing, blah, blah, blah. Or he's going to play 20 minutes, or he's going to play the first half and I'm bringing him off on the second half. The manager then has got the choice to make, and it's the manager's choice whether he plays that player or not. The buck stops at him. The same as everything. The training, tactics, how we set up, everything. And he's obviously been lost in translation on certain players throughout their career, throughout his time at Arsenal, because he's been a bit kind of, well, I'm under pressure here. I need a result. I need to play him. I need to get him in the team. So a lot of the reasons why these players have played is because he's been putting himself under pressure for results. And Saka's been our main man. You know, not so much this season, but he has been our main man, and he's had to rely on Saka. And he's probably been a little bit naive in playing him in a lot of games he shouldn't have played him in. And now further down the line, you can see the damage it's done on Saka, because he's half the player he was. He's half the player he was. He's not. He's lost that pace. He's lost that kind of little bravery as well. He pulls. You know, he don't tend to kind of give it his all sometimes, because he's got it in the back of his head that he's going to pull up or whatever. So yeah, it's just mismanagement on players and the way he's rotated the squad and used the players. And even this season with Declan Rice, you know, he's been kept on the pitch in Spurs for 90 odd minutes when the game's won and done and dusted. He's had chances to play Norgard and rest Zubimendi and Rice in certain games, and he hasn't done it. You know, he's had chances to play Ben White instead of Timber, and he hasn't done it. And it's just a catalogue of where you're kind of going, hang on a minute. Yeah, injuries happen in every team, but this ain't a coincidence now. This is like a pattern of not rotating in the right areas. So for me, Jez, I think he's got to take a lot of responsibility on the injuries we've had, because a lot of them could have been avoided or could have been minimised, if you like. Even if it wasn't avoided, they could have been minimised. And yeah, for me, it's a case of he just hasn't used the right tools that's been offered to him, and that's players' rotation. Whether or not he's not had the squad, people might say, oh, yeah, but he's not had the squad to do that. He has had the squad to do that. He has had the squad to do that. You've got to remember, he spent near on £800 million before the £1 billion came into force. So he has had the players to do it, and he's had the games in to do it in. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see this season now. We'll see the back end.
It's coming close, DJ, now. And the fact is, this is coming to the crux of the season now. And if we get more injuries, Declan Rice, for example, we're in deep bloody trouble. Just read some of these comments out, man. 316 came on this channel last Jan, faced a barrage of hate for supporting Arteta as manager, with everyone hitting here and chat calling Arteta out. Does everyone still feel the same way? Well, I'm sorry you got loads of abuse, because that's not what I want people to do on here. And if people do abuse people that much, then they will get blocked and banned and kicked out. You're welcome in here. If you're an Arteta fan, that's up to you. That's your opinion. Personally, I don't rate him as a manager. I don't know him. There is no agenda. There is no hate. But you're entitled to your opinion, my friend. And you're welcome to stay. And if anybody starts getting abusive, then they will get shafted. I can promise you that. Yeah, Darren, rather sad how Timber has been clarted. Yeah, there you go. Another one. But there's one. Yeah, this one. This is the one that gets me. Go through this one, man. I can't wait till that loser Arnie Slot is out. He's gone. Yeah, mate. Yeah, he must be getting really pissed off up there. Danny Reacts, big up, gents. Smash those likes. Yeah, smash the likes up, people. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. I think they've changed their algorithm again. I've been noting on all channels the views are down again. It's not. It's Lee's. It's Northside. Shane's. Everybody's channels are not getting the views. I think they've fucked the algorithm again, which I think is disgusting. But Darren says, yeah, 316. As far as I'm concerned, Arteta has had an abundance of cash, and if you think just because he's still in full trophies because he's cancelled his Dubai holiday doesn't mean you can flex. No, that's a fair point. Now this was an interesting one. I'm not going to have a big debate about it, right? As Karaji says, positive Dan saying North London forever provides togetherness. Now, that was an interesting one, and I'm not going to throw the question around it, guys. I'm just going to give you my point of view on this. All right, this is the one contentious opinion, right? He was saying, well, when the players come out the tunnel, they're singing it. I said, no, it's bullshit. And he said, yeah, I've got videos to show it. I can prove it. I said, well, do it then. I said, show me the videos. They're all coming out the tunnel and they're all singing North London together. Right? I said, I know and talk to fans like Kenny Ken, DJB, and other people I know that go to that game, absolutely hate that song, right? And they don't sing it, right? It's only a certain faction sing it. And the players aren't singing it. Oh, yeah, they are.
They're already on the pitch, Jez. They're already on the pitch when the song kicks in. It's right before kickoff.
Yeah,
they're not coming out.
I said, well, show me the video. Show me the fucking video. And anyway, we'll move on. I want something. This is right. Tomorrow night. Let's start off with you, Kenny Kent. Leverkusen, mate. We've got Leverkusen. And, you know, we're back in the Champions League again. Looking good. Haven't lost a game yet. Give me a breakdown, man. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I was on Dan's show earlier today and I found out they got 7 players out, which I didn't know. I had a clue about the amount of players got out. That's all good news for me. If that's the case, they got all those players out. Love, all great for me. In terms of like my feeling in general regarding how we're going to play. Look, one thing we've got to realise is 180 minutes. You know, it'd be nice if we go in there and absolutely smash them, but you know they're gonna be definitely up for it. Their best player shits out, and they've got 6 other players out. A few of them are first teamers, but remember we've got injuries ourselves, so it's not as if we're like going with a full squad. One thing I will say is that I'll be happy like with a draw, 1-0, 2-1. I'll take it all day long because it gives us something to hold on to when we come to the Emirates. The way we play, it could be a situation where we who knows we may have a choice of rotating players, but I'm really looking forward to it. Walking forward to it. We won't lose. I don't think we'll lose. A lot of it's because of the lack of options they have, but I'll go for a lot of 1-1. I'll go for that, and then we'll take the Emirates and we'll win. We'll finish the tie off. But yeah, couldn't have had a better draw for me.
The one I wanted,
I didn't particularly want. What's that?
It's the one.
What's that?
Lee asked me, and we were on Lee's show when
Yes, right.
And I said the one team I want is Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, Bayer Leverkusen, they've been completely, like I said, the birds, the big birds of the Premiership and other German clubs, and obviously the clubs in Europe have basically gone to their squad after they won the Bundesliga 2 years ago, and they just basically said, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. I mean, Frimpong and Wirtz, massive losses. You know what I mean? And then Xabi Alonso going to Real Madrid, obviously he lost his job. Didn't like the full season, but it's one of the things where it's a good time to play them because they're not the side they were 2 years ago. You know what I mean? So definitely up for the draw. Obviously it's Europe. The only thing that's going to worry me is our fitness. And if they play a low block, keep the ball. If they don't play a low block, then what we'll do is just pick them off. But if they play a low block, it's going to be a long night in Leverkusen.
Fact. Now, this is what I find absolutely funny, right? Yeah, 3-1-6. Here we go. Jez, you were the one crying about Arteta. Yeah, I've complained about him. He ain't good enough. He is slowly proving you wrong. Is he? He ain't won nothing. He ain't won fuck all yet. He's doing well. He's doing okay.
And very fucking slowly as well. It's been 7 years.
But he's got to get it over the line, mate. Sorry. You guys need to take responsibility. For what? For what? Fans like me who have backed Arteta from the start are the true fans. Are you? Yeah, because you've only ever seen Arteta, right? You have never, ever, you weren't around in the days of George.
And daring what I said earlier, Jez, about the Big Daddy John A stacks nonsense that we're gonna.
But they're true fans of Arteta. That's basically what they're saying. They're not true fans of the club, because if they were true fans of the club, they would have demanded trophies in the last couple of years instead of failing.
Come back and talk to me about the history of.
I don't think in some of the games towards the end of the season, comes your season, I don't think we'll be seeing people like any of the games.
No,
Also, Kenny, just want to say about 316. What team will you support when Arteta leaves the football club? Then
I was just going to say that.
Who will you support after when Arteta moves on? What will you still be supporting Arsenal? Will you give the next manager the same support you're giving Arteta? Will you give him the same 6-7 years and another £1 billion?
The thing is, he come in crying a minute ago.
People were mean to me.
Well, why would you come into an Arsenal channel with these 3 seasoned Arsenal fans that have seen more Arsenal football than you've seen in your little life, and make a stupid comment like that?
But he says here he's been supporting since George Graham, so he's a grown man that's saying you didn't support the way I support Arteta.
Well, I mean, and you're a Spurs fan.
That makes it worse. That actually makes it worse. If it's a kid,
he says yes.
Well,
I know, I get that. Well, I mean, if that is the case, it's even sadder, Kenny. If you're a grown man who's saying you didn't support Arteta, it's so pathetic, man. It really is.
But he obviously has never watched much of what we and Kenny and Shane and DJ do to support fucking Spurs. Are you having a laugh? Get out of here, man. Fuck off. And that is why people like you, mate, get blocked, because you came in crying like a little girl, right? Oh, I got abused. Oh, I got abused. And now you're actually making a stupid ass white comment. Fuck off, right? Go away. Because we've got proper Arsenal fans here, right? That watch more Arsenal football than you will ever in your life. And you'll never know what these guys know about Arsenal Football Club. So
I'll just step in. That's why we've got to keep on pitching that drum and defend them. Because at the end of the day, right, the good thing I like about all of us is that we're not desperate to make it on TV. We're not going to put up with this nonsense and say, "Oh, I respect your opinion." We fight fire by fire. Because I just seen a remark. I was on Dan's show and I made just a remark that if Arsenal do get into a situation where they do want to sort of be elite and dominate English football, that they got to look at all the players, and i.e. players like Raya. If there's a better code than Raya, then we can look. I never said Raya wasn't elite, but I just said that but if there's someone elite, then let's go for it. I've got this geezer from Nigeria. He calls himself Love from me. He's giving me enough abuse in the comments, and I'm thinking, hang on here. I know for a fact that he's never ever been to an Arsenal match in his life, and that the only time he watches is with his mates mates back in Nigeria. He's got the audacity to say all these things. Zero football knowledge. You, and his pseudonym is love from me. Blah blah. Love from what, mate? I know guys like you. I grew up with guys like you. I'm from the same community as you, mate. Don't kid a kidder. You ain't got a clue about this club. You talk nonsense. And I've seen the remarks you make about people on this when you do watch a bit of Dan's channel. I've got you sussed out, mate. I know the sort of rubbish you watch and the YouTube challenge you want. I won't saw this channel and this pod by wasting any more time in you. But I've got your number, mate, and I know your real name as well, mate. Let's just say Mr. Aking. Let me see. Actually, I've got his name up here. I'm gonna write him because he's made me angry now. His name is Mr. Akin Cookbay. Mr. Akin Cookbay. Got your number, mate.
Cool. There you go.
You know, I'm kidding over your number.
There you go. And this guy supported Jules Graham era. Jez, you frat. Yeah, okay, mate. I watched Bertie Mee. Did you?
2-0 as well.
Were you around in Bertie Mee's days? Yeah. Come and talk to me about Arsenal history, fella, and you might get a history lesson from the four of us. Yeah. I don't give a shit whether you watch Jules Graham's teams. Yeah. Tell me about Jules Graham's career then. Yeah. If you know all about him, come and tell me about his career. I think you might get fucking schooled, son. You know what I'm saying? Hendo says, how exactly has Arteta proved Jez, etc. wrong? Arteta's won fuck all, you melt. There you go. Yeah, there you go. When he proves me wrong, I will say you proved me wrong.
So, Jez, the thing is, though, even if he won a league this season and a Carabao, it's still only 3 trophies in 7 years. It's still not massive. If he was to win the league and the Carabao Cup and then leave for Barcelona, if you look back in his reign 10 years later, you wouldn't think it was all that special. You got what he got. He got a league and he got a Carabao Cup and he got an FA Cup in 7 years. It won't be looked at as anything special. And then you go, oh, well, he was given this golden generation of youngsters and he was given 1.3 billion. It's still not great. He needs to win several leagues in a row and win more cups and to really start to get. Right now, even if he wins a league, his whole reign isn't great. It's not great at all.
The thing is, what I find funny, guys, is he comes in crying like a little girl, right? Then he wants to abuse us, yeah? Yeah. And then I live near the stadium.
The threats will start next, Jez.
Big deal. Big fucking deal, man. I don't give a shit where you live. Yeah. Yeah. I really don't give a shit. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you live, right? You could live 200 miles away and still go to the game, right? Yippee doo. I know loads of people that don't live near the stadium. They still go. Yeah, but what are you trying to prove to me, right? Is that just because you live near the Emirates Stadium, you're a big Arteta fan? I'm sorry, but to me, if you live near that stadium, and you watch George Graham, which means you were going to Highbury, yeah, then you support the club and not the manager. You're a bullshitter, mate. You're a liar. You're a fucking liar. You've only ever watched Arteta, right? I swear down right now, you've never watched George Graham. Because at the end of the day, if you'd watched George Graham, you didn't mention Arsene Wenger, did you? Yeah, did you mention Arsene Wenger? Bruce Rioch? Yeah, could you tell me the two great players that Bruce Rioch brought in? No, you couldn't. Right? Could you tell me all about the George Graham era? No, you couldn't. Because don't try and bullshit these people here. Right? You can abuse me, and I think it's funny. Don't come in and start crying like a little girl, right, who's wet her knickers because you got abused. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you'll get schooled all day long. And on that note, jog on, move on, and we'll get into Shano. Bayer Leverkusen. Give me a breakdown.
Yeah, I think it'd be quite an easy game, if I'm being honest with you. Like Kenny said, they had players out and they were picked apart. And so you see it sometimes, we see it quite often. Remember, Betis had the same thing done to them a while ago. They nearly went down the year, then they were in the Champions League. I think it'd be a walk in the park, really. I wouldn't go there arrogant, but I can see it being a 2-1, 3-1 to Arsenal. I do think we might concede at some point. We've just been a bit leaky recently, but I can see it being a 2 or 3-1. And I'd love it. I'd love if we won by 2 goals or 3 goals, just again take that weight off, and then we have the FA Cup draw and we can just concentrate on it. This is what you have to do if you want to battle on all fronts. But do I think that there's an upset on the cards? No, I don't see it. Most games I go into, if I'm massively confident. I'll say like we have a 90 to 95% chance of win. I'll never say 100% because that would just be crazy. You just don't know what will happen. I'll be more worried about the Everton game at the weekend. I think that's going to be tougher, much tougher, in fact. But I think we'll win quite comfortably. I'll give it a 3-1 now. If you ask me now, I'll say 3-1, and I'll be happy with that.
DJ?
Yeah, I think Arsenal win, but it's Europe. Arsenal, Europe. It's always a roller coaster, Jez. I mean, we've been here before with Arsenal in Europe in the Champions League, haven't we? The other teams had injuries, players out, blah, 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 and we've struggled. The occasion has got to us. The occasion has got to certain players at certain points. And I watched, we've had a brilliant Champions League campaign, let's be honest. And I said at the start of the season that I feel that this team is more built to win the Champions League than the Premiership. The fact that we're 7 points clear in the Premiership is good, but I still lean towards, if I was to pick one, I still believe that this team has probably got more chance of winning the Champions League than the Premiership. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 away win, and that'll be good enough to bring them back to the Emirates and finish the job off. However, it's Europe, and anything can happen. And these are the sort of games that can catch you out. So again, we've got to be vigilant and we've got to be careful, because if they get a goal and they get another one, and then we're chasing the game, it puts a whole different spin to it. So we've got to go there, do a professional job. I'm like Kenny, fatigue could play a part. Rice, he looks tired now. It gets to about the 55th minute, 60th minute, and he starts looking leggy. Zubimendi defensively has got to be spot on. He can't go wandering and doing all sorts of crazy back passes or whatever, and he's got to be, he's got to follow, he's got to track his man and all of that. So, yeah, listen, it should be a comfortable night, but it's Europe, and Arsenal and Europe don't normally go together hand in hand. So let's see what happens. Let's keep our feet on the ground, but we should win. We should come away with a 2-1 win at least tomorrow. Definitely.
I totally agree with that. Before we get into the one thing I'm going to talk about before we wrap it up, I do find it, why do people go into channels and just have they not got a life to actually find something in life to enjoy? They have this ambition to actually just abuse people, content creators. And why? What is their problem? What are they that brain dead and bored in life that they just have to sit indoors and they can't get out and get a boyfriend or a girlfriend?
It's hilarious.
They just got to sit there and moan and groan and say, well, I don't like what you say. You don't support Arteta. I watch Jules Graham, blah, blah, blah. Who really gives a fuck? Who really gives a fuck? I mean, there you go. Here we go. He's back again. Yeah, Mr. Africa. There you go, Kenny.
Big up, Mr. Africa. Here he goes. Look at that. You should promote Spurs merch on your ads. Why not? Yeah.
Merch on your ads. Yeah. Yeah, right.
You know what? The channels that they watch, ironically, the channels that they watch would happily advertise Spurs merch if it meant getting more.
What I can't understand.
They'd happily do it.
What I can't understand. What are their lives like that everything you have to agree on, or you can't have a different, or you can't have.
Spoiled kids. It's society now, DJ. It's society. They grow up spoiled. They grow up being told everything's perfect.
Why is it you got to agree with what?
There's no cognitive.
Why can't you have a different?
Because in life, DJ, in life, they're losers. Normally, they are as a whole, they're losers, and they just behind the screen. Then they can go, well, I've got to win this argument, because when
as I said, what I'm going to say to Mr. Africa before he comes in, Mr. Africa, when Arteta leaves this football club, which he will do, and it could be the end of the season, even if he wins something. Because I had a discussion with Jez the other day. If the owners turn around and says there's no more money in this football club, you've got to make do with the squad you got, because we're refurbishing the stadium. Do you want to sign a 3-year deal? Arteta might look at that and go, well, actually, if you ain't bringing in any more players, I'm not going to hang around. So when Arteta goes, will you still be supporting Arsenal, whatever manager comes in next, and give him
If
the
they get
same
over it.
and give him the same love that you've given this manager?
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, no. The next manager's getting none of this. He's getting turned on
come
straight away.
Come
That's what I
and-
say. It's always,
yeah,
when the next manager will be like,
Unai Emery.
this will be, I always say, what it will be like when a dad leaves home and doesn't come back. That's what it be. And then the next manager that comes in, he could be the nicest man in the world, but they say, you're not my real dad. You're not my real dad. My real dad's
Yeah.
going to come home someday.
Anyway,
that's what it'll be like. And they're going to have helplines like when Take That broke up. You know what I mean? They're going to have helplines for them that they can ring up. Oh, I can't go on.
Sad, isn't it?
Arteta's gone. I had one of them in my chat say, I will never leave Arteta.
Good.
That was his words.
Good.
I will never leave him.
Go with him then.
It's a
Go
cult.
with him. Anyway, guys, this is one I want to talk about. I wanted to change. We did talk about one player a month ago, and I decided people keep saying, "Jez, do more history stuff, more history." I'm not going to do whole shows about it because the views are shit. But with this elite panel, I'm gonna. Well, they are shit. I've done when I first started out on YouTube. I was just doing history stuff and match reviews and previews and everything. And the views are crap. Nobody's interested in the history.
Yeah.
But you guys, you're the real ones. You are the legends. You know your shit, right? So, Shano, Alan Smith, smudger, great striker for Arsenal Football Club, right? Achieved absolute greatness. Great, probably. I'm going to give you my opinion, right? And then you can give me your opinion. He was the man that got us off the mark on probably the most scintillating game of football I've ever watched at Anfield to win the league at a ground we hadn't been and won at for 14 years. And he got it. He nudged that little free kick header in. And I thought, going there, I thought, we ain't got a chance. We ain't got a chance. After the fact how far ahead we were, and then we gradually capitulated after the tragedy at Hillsborough. Liverpool were coming back up and chasing us, and we had to go there and win by 2 clear goals. He nudged it, he did it, and he was Golden Boot player for 2 concurrent seasons. Give me your breakdown, man.
Yeah, look, he's one of the most criminally underrated strikers, not just that we've had, just in English football. I think he got that goal, obviously, and then he his hold up play and the flick through for the winner as well, or for the second goal. That can't be overlooked. The ball sticking to him. We talk now about our centre forwards like Gyökeres, the ball just won't stick to him. With Alan Smith, you could give him any ball, it would stick to him, and he'd turn and he'd find another player. So he wasn't just a goal scorer. But yeah, you know, Golden Boot in the 89 season, Golden Boot in 1991 as well. We were always a team that had Golden Boot winners. We always had a forward, Ian Wright, Henry, and Elka. We always had a forward that you could put your hat on and say, right, he's gonna get us goals. And but yeah, I think he's criminally underrated, Jez. And we did the Arsenal 11. He was very, very close to making your team. I remember we all had to go with Bergkamp and Henry, you know, but you were so close to putting Smudger in. And I remember that was the one where we had a good laugh because you were saying, this is so much harder than I thought. I can't believe I'm having to leave Smudger out, you know, because he was that good. But he did such a job, apart from goal scoring, like I said. Surprisingly nimble. His goal in the Cup Winners' Cup final was an absolute screamer as well. Let's not forget that, against that stacked Parma team when we were injury riddled with Steve Morrow and Ian Selly and all in midfield, and he was up on his own and he pinged that half volley in. For me, one of the most underrated forwards that we've ever had. I don't think he gets near enough credit. I've never met him, but he seems like a nice guy as well, and I quite like him on commentary. Some people don't like him on commentary. I quite like him. I think he adds a bit of class when he commentates. But what a baller. Very underrated. Could score with both feet, great in the air, hold up play, nimble, as I said. Yeah, I think he had everything. And I'd love to see him in this day and age. I think he'd be brilliant in this day and age as well. But yeah, for me, one of the most underrated forwards that we've ever had. And yeah, top player.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favourite. If you were to ask me the top 20 players, so I might do a show on this. Actually, I might do a show on this one just for a giggle. My top 20, and I'll invite you. We do. Let's do that. The old school show in a couple of weeks. Let's do this. Our top 20 Arsenal players, right? Going from it could be from we've watched in history that we never seen and never had the opportunity. We're going to do that. I think that'd be a great show. DJB, Alan Smith, Smudger.
Yeah. Oh, mate, 850,000 we got him for. How much was Gorkarez? It's, you know what I mean? In comparison, what would Smith be worth nowadays? You know, it's really funny. I'll never forget it because I rated him when he was at Leicester, and I said, "Oh, he'd be good under George Graham." And I think we missed the deadline on the signing, and we had to loan him back to Leicester.
We did, right? Yeah.
I don't know whether Kenny will remember this, but I think we had to loan him back to Leicester, and then we eventually got him in the.
That's right,
yeah, and then we eventually got him in the 87-88 season, and then. He kind of struggled when he first arrived at Arsenal, and it was only when we got Brian Marwood on the wing that he really did link up, and he's used to supplying with the crosses and the assist that got him up and running in the Arsenal team. So Brian Marwood was a revelation for him, and this is when I compare it to what we have today. Smith had Marwood, who was an absolute baller on the wing. We've got Martinelli and Trossard that are not. And that's where Gorkarez is struggling.
Exactly.
So, there's the comparison there. But one thing with Alan Smith, he was a very intelligent player. And that's what George Graham bought him for. He bought him for his intelligence because, he wanted someone that could sort of find him little pockets and bring players into play. And it weren't just his goal scoring with Alan Smith. It was the way he used to bring players into the game and hold on to the ball. And he was underrated. His strength was underrated as well, because back in them days, you got tackled from behind, you got tackled from the side, and tackles used to fly in everywhere. And Alan Smith used to hold off some pretty big defenders. So his upper body strength was quite underestimated as well, because he weren't really a big.
No,
he weren't really a big burly centre forward that you look at him, but he was very awkward to get off the ball because his touch was very, very good. One thing with Smithy as well, and it came in with the 89 when we beat Liverpool, he had brilliant awareness around him. And he saw Michael Thomas make that run out the corner of his eye before the ball even come to him. So he knew where he was going to put it straight away. And that's what he done a lot. And this is why a lot of players loved playing alongside him. Any player that played with Alan Smith said that his vision and the way he brought players into the game was absolutely first class. And then you look at his goal scoring. His goal scoring was absolutely brilliant as well. So, 25 in one season and, brilliant goals. Left foot, right foot, score with his head. And he was brave as well. I mean, he was brave. He was brave. He'd put his head in there.
He did it Anfield, didn't he? I mean, he was.
He was. And I'm with Shane on this. He was probably, if you was to do an overrated and underrated, he'd probably be in that bracket of the most underrated strikers in English football, because he was brave like Alan Shearer. He was strong as well. And he had brilliant awareness around him. So it wasn't just his goal scoring. It was his intelligence as well that he brought to Arsenal. An absolute brilliant signing, a snip at the money, fantastic player. If he was around today in his prime, probably 70 million all day long, 60, 70 million, no problem at all. And he would fit into this mod. See, this is what I said earlier on in the stream. He's a player that would fit in any team today, even how football's changed. So even though it's changed, he would still fit into this modern era because of his brain and his football ability. So for me, he was an absolute brilliant player for Arsenal.
One of my favourite of all times. I won't deny, actually. Kenny Ken, give me your breakdown on Alan Smudger Smith.
Alan Smith, I actually remember, yeah, we did sign him in just on the transfer deadline day.
It was right.
Just on the 31st of, we signed him on the 31st of March 1987. Everything was in for the pipeline. And then we loaned him back to Leicester. He actually, in Easter Monday, we played Leicester, beat him 6-1. And Alan Smith got a standing ovation. I don't know if he got one of the goals. He probably did. Leicester were going to got relegated that season. One thing about Alan Smith, we were talking about in Lee's show yesterday, that he before '93 he never got booked. Everyone talks about Gary Lineker never getting booked. Alan Smith never ever got booked. He only got one booking in '93. 2 golden boots when Arsenal won a title in '89 and '91. He scored 23 goals and 22 goals. In today's market, he'd be worth a lot of money. His hold-up play is one of the best I've ever seen. His in the air, he was fantastic. His movement was fantastic.
We got him Leicester.
His brain was quicker than the mind. He didn't have Ian Wright's pace. He didn't have Kevin Campbell's power. But what he did have is just that his movement in the box was unbelievable, especially finding space. He was one. He's one of the Arsenal greats. When you think of '89 and '91, you've got to think about this guy. Without Alan Smith, we don't win the titles in '89 and '91. It's a shame that he didn't get many England caps, but that was because Gary Lineker was so great, such a great striker for England, and it would have been hard to get strikers in. The sad thing for Smudger was when we signed Ian Wright just hit the ground running, really hit the ground running, and to the extent that he just couldn't stop scoring. And then it was a case where, because Ian Wright just couldn't stop scoring, he was playing out of his skin. We kind of marginalised Smudger by playing the ball over the top to cater for Wright's play. So in essence, they couldn't really play together because Alan Smith should just hold the ball up for Ian Wright. For a player like that, it wouldn't work. And plus, it didn't have pace,
Kevin Campbell suited him better, didn't he? Kevin Campbell
definitely suited him because obviously Kevin Campbell was meant to be Alan Smith's successor, but things changed. But yes, Alan Smith, history will be very kind to him. And let's not forget, when Ian Wright was suspended and we needed someone, 1-0 to the Arsenal, Copenhagen, you guessed it, Alan Smith again. So when you think about Alan Smith, history's got to be kind to him. It's a shame that Arsenal fans have turned to him and the club turned against him, because what a lot of people don't realise is that Alan Smith used to have access to the players, just as much access as Martin Keown gets. But Arsene Wenger and the Arsenal hierarchy banned him from the club because, that battle of Old Trafford when there was silliness between Van Persie and Keown and Parlour. Well, Alan Smith put his Sky Sports hat on instead of getting, being an ex-Arsenal man, and he was told he wasn't welcome at Arsenal. And that's factual. I've got that. That didn't just come from me spreading rumours. It came from the horse's mouth. So it's a shame that he isn't appreciated. Even now, you get a few of our fans having a go at him because he's been impartial. Well, Arsenal have told him he's not welcome. What do you expect? If Arsene Wenger is cut off his access, and we've had this siege mentality, well, he's going to do his job. That Sky pay him handsomely. One thing about Alan Smith, when you talk about Alan Smith as a footballer, let's not forget he's one of our most respected and best broadcasters, co-commentators. The fact that he's got a job with Sky doing the co-commentary, since he retired, more than 25 years co-commentary shows you he's great at his job and he's impartial. But yeah, as a footballer, as I said before, when you talk about Ian Wright, you talk about breaking Cliff Basty's record and the FA Cups and the trophies and the entertainment he gave us. When you talk about Alan Smith, all you got to say is 89 and 91. All you got to say,
yeah,
exactly. And that's the whole point. I highlighted him because what he took us to. It was a better team around him. He could have gone even greater, but that's never happened. But we're going to wrap it up, boys. Sorry about the mutants tonight, the idiots that come out of their mental homes because they're obviously let out on a Tuesday night. Let them have a little walk around and be a complete load of pricks. But Hendo, exactly, Murray, God knows whatever it is, for the sake of a few grand, Arsenal let him go. The ball were idiots for pitching stupidity. Exactly, mate. Exactly.
Jez, can I just say one more thing about Alan Smith?
Go on, mate. Yeah, please.
For someone that used to take a load of tackles and shirt pulling and pulled and pushed and in pressurised games, he only received one yellow card in his whole career at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Fair point.
One yellow card in his whole career at Arsenal. I think that was 90, and that was towards the end, 93, 94.
Right near the end, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great comment. I love this. Murray, I don't think Jez supports Arsenal, honestly. That's why I'm wearing an Arsenal shirt. And that's why I've got an Arsenal thing behind me. You know what I mean? Are you thick or you?
We're all fake. We're all fake.
Yeah. I mean, are you actually fucking blind, mate, or are you thick?
I'm an actual, yeah.
I just think he's thick. I think he's a Spurs fan disguised. I'm here to stir things up. What have I stirred up tonight? Can you explain one thing I stirred up tonight? All we've done is talk about intelligent conversation with intelligent people that actually know about it.
You know what? Just send him over to. You know what? I'm going to talk to me uncle Clive. I'll send him over to Clive, and I'll send him over to Arsblock. Where where they'll be nicer to him. They'll like I said, they're level-headed, and they know they've just got as much experience as us when it comes to watching the Arsenal, especially Uncle Clive. And then who knows, maybe they'll prefer listening to me Uncle Clive. But we are what we are. There's room for all of us. There's room for Arsenal Vision podcast. There's room for Arsblog. There's room for everyone else. You've seen it. You don't like what we do, go somewhere else.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, you ain't going to change what I say, right? And you're not going to change Shane. You're not going to change DJB. You ain't going to change Kenny. You ain't going to change the chat. So go away, go back into your little bedroom and fuck off, all right? Because at the end of the day, you're a muppet. And on that note, Shano, what you got coming up, my friend? Shout each other out.
No, big up having me on. Absolute pleasure, as always, sharing a screen with three legends of the club. And I don't know if these fans understand where clubs like Arsenal would be if there wasn't fans that upheld standards. It would just be a get-along gang. It would be what Chelsea are doing right. See how that suits you, because that's where we are headed if we don't demand trophies. That would be our board's dream, would be to run the club like Chelsea. But having said that, yeah, I am back in about an hour, actually, or 50 minutes. I have one of the legends of the chat, Rob Future, on for an hour on my show. We're going to just go through his Arsenal journey. We'll keep the Tottenham match on in the background. Hopefully they get stuffed. I think they might. And or maybe the Newcastle Barcelona game, actually. That might be a better game. But yeah, and then I'll be back obviously for the full
Amazon Prime, it's on Amazon Amazon Prime, you're laughing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll have both on. No, but you got Brad me on, absolute legend.
Yeah, big up, man. Thanks for joining as always, Shano. And yeah, I love your morning show. I don't always comment, to be honest,
big up, yes.
But I do watch it. DJB, my friend, great show you did earlier with Shano, the retro one.
Yeah.
Sorry you lost out today, but Shout yourself out, mate.
Yeah, the Arsenal huddle. Come and have a little look over. Tomorrow, Nulski's back with me. We've got the mingle, the midweek mingle. Then Thursday, we've got me and Kenny. We do a little tea time chat for an hour or so. And then, and then we're back around Sunday for the Sunday sit back, digesting all the weekend's football and highs and lows of the players and stuff. But big up for having me on, Jez, as always, and sharing it with Shane and Kenny's always a pleasure. And the chat as well, and it's been good again. Really enjoyed tonight's show. Really good. Obviously, talking about Alan Smith as well, absolute legend of the club as well. It's all good. All good.
We got there in the end because
we did indeed.
I've got another one next week we're going to talk about, which I'll keep secret for right now. Kenny Ken, always a pleasure. Absolute, your knowledge is beyond belief. What you got coming up, Ken?
I've got nothing coming up really. I have been asked to go on Dan's show later. I was on there earlier, so it's just a case of me watching a bit of football. And what was I going to say? I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. I've got a slight addiction to certain reality TV programs, and it's nothing to do with the wife. I just saw one yesterday. I just couldn't stop laughing along. I might give that a watch after the footy. See that I'm not going to be on a podcast later.
But I can't imagine what program that is.
I was just thinking that Kenny with the slippers on watching reality TV.
All I'm going to say to you is the Australian version.
Oh no! Please, no, Kenny.
It's the Australian version, and it's the best one out of all of them. No, it's the Australian version, and it's the best one out of all of them.
No, I can't.
It's the Australian version. Any Aussies out there? We've got loads of Aussies in the chat, loads of Aussies who are fans of us. You know what I'm talking about. Let's just say I'll give you a butcher's.
Yeah.
I will not marry you. I won't marry you until you get down on one knee.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Kenny, come on, man.
What is happening?
I know. It was hilarious.
No, I know what he's talking about here now.
Yeah. Australian love.
I'm sure the missus and your daughters are having a laugh at that.
Oh, no. They've
God.
got him.
Kenny's a romantic. Kenny's a romantic.
No,
do you know
what it was is that I put it on one day and I went, oh my God, this is hilarious. I thought, when's the next series? And I suppose I've become quite habitual and I'm watching it. But yeah, but habitual watching that. But hey, I can't be on every podcast.
Fair enough, mate. Kenny's having
That's
a bit
enough for Liverpool, I think.
Yeah, mate. Kenny, please get some help. We're going to get out.
I'll tell you what, I'm just going to see if there's any. I've just got this a lot about injury news, but there's nothing, not at all. Oh yeah, injury updates. Let's have a look.
They won't tell us anything.
Yeah, Trossard, Calafiori, they're travelling to Germany, so they'd be all right.
Oh,
that doesn't mean they're all right.
So that should be okay.
Right, people, we're out of here.
His manager, you know.
And,
big up, everyone. Big up, chat.
Big up.
DJB, Kenny Ken, chat. Sorry about the idiots. Unfortunately, they like to migrate to my channel. Don't know why. But, I'm not an Arsenal fan. There you go. Haven't supported the club for 58 years. But there you go. Never mind. Jog on. See you later. And we do the outro.